Shiny Alakazam definitely gets the Reverend seal of approval, because it's still like the really hype shade of yellow, but it's got like the magenta armor, which actually looks hella sick. I had no idea that's what Shiny Alakazam looked like, because I never end up using the shiny models ever, because I guess I'm just a basic bitch. But this is a team that I took from the sample teams thread on Smoggin. I believe it was posted by Volty, and it's built around Mega Pinsir, which, as you all know, is only the best Mega Evolution in the game for exactly the first week after X and Y came out. And then fast forward to today's metagame, and you never see it anymore for one reason or another. Or I guess like the singular obvious reason that it's a pain in the ass to build a team around. And you could be using a Mega that's like more self-sufficient, or at least like less stressful to use, like Mega Sableye and Mega Lopunny, but sometimes I don't want to play that weak shit. I want to use Mega Pinsir because all you have to do is click one button and you'll be 2-hit KOing Slowbros and Hippowdons left and right, and it's just really fucking satisfying to use. But you can go ahead and forget all that, because we don't give a shit about Mega Pinsir right now. The most interesting Pokemon on this team is actually the Landorus-Therian, which, hear me out, it's Swords Dance Yache Berry, which means that like the meta is to have Raikous and Manectrics and Thunderuses come in on you and expect to kill you with a Hidden Power Ice. You tank it because of the Yache Berry and then kill them with an Earthquake or a Stone Edge, and you kill Rotoms with Swords Dance Explosion. You kill other Landorus and Garchomps with Swords Dance Explosion. Like, I've had so many games with this set where it'll just go on like this mini 3-turn rampage and just fucking decimate everything I need to be killed for a Mega Pinsir sweep to be much easier later in the game. So this is definitely like the most fun Landorus set I've ever used. And then Garchomp shows up, as it always shows up on offensive teams now, particularly because like Mega Pinsir really enjoys Talonflame being taken care of, and Talonflame will just lose like half its health from Garchomp just existing because it runs the Grift harder than any other Pokemon in the game. Latios gets rid of entry hazards for Pinsir, obviously, with Defog, but it also has Hidden Power Fire, which kills Ferrothorns, which Mega Pinsir can deal with, but she doesn't really want to because it's just so annoying because of the Iron Barbs. Scizor shows up as a way to deal with like the trifecta of really scary fairy Pokemon that nothing switches into, i.e. Gardevoir, Diancie, and Altaria. And Keldeo shows up as a way to prevent me from getting 6-0'd by Swords Dance Bisharp and Weavile. So I am going to go ahead and lead off with Shark Week while the Empoleon comes out. Go for the Earthquake straight up, because he could have switched something into that, but if he did, then he wouldn't have set up Stealth Rocks, which would have been good anyway. And I know that he's going to want to switch out now, so just go for a Stealth Rock on the switch while the Clefable comes out. He tries to go for like the turn 3 Calm Mind, which is pretty sus, but I can go ahead and 2-hit KO the Clefable with Earthquake. And I know that he's going to want to switch out into his Landorus, so just go ahead and catch it on the switch with an Explosion, which is actually going to do a whole mess, even through the Intimidate. So I know that that is Choice Scarf Landorus, and I can just go ahead and take that out with a Scald from the Choice Scarf Eddie Murphy, and don't really want to get set up on by that Clefable, obviously, so just go out into LF Plat OU and go for the worst superpower of the decade. I didn't want him to switch the Entei or Empoleon in on that, but if the Empoleon came out, I could have killed it next turn anyway, because it's a trash Pokemon, and if the Entei came out, I could have just switched Shark Week into it. But it was like about this point in the battle that I realized this was ladder superstar Mob Barley, and I thought that if Senpai noticed me, maybe he would like kiss me on the lips, but it didn't really end up working out as well as I had wanted it to, and I just make a fool of myself. But at this point, I am just going to go ahead and switch Shark Week into the Entei, because obviously she is not going to give a heck or a damn it about that extreme speed, and the Entei is at a pretty scraggly amount of health, which is going to be really good for Pinchie later on. I know that he's going to want to switch his Clefable into that, so I just make the double into no aegislash, please. He's not really going to appreciate dealing with that Clefable, but that was like the best opportunity for me to defog away the hazards so that Pinchie can like actually come in at some point in the game. This was really dumb. I didn't need to risk losing my Scizor at that point because I really needed it to deal with the Clefable. But since I know that that is banded damage from the Stone Edge, I'm not scared of the Choice Scarf, and I can just go ahead and take out the Tyranitar with a close combat. The Alakazam is going to come out. This was kind of dumb, actually. I totally didn't expect no Aegislash Please to be able to survive a Shadow Ball from full HP, but I guess I just always overestimate how strong Mega Alakazam is, and I could have tried to tank that and hit it with a Draco Meteor, but it doesn't really end up mattering. I go ahead and go for Stealth Rocks, which looks really stupid, but I definitely needed that to put Entei into the range where a Feint from Pinchie can kill it. Go for a Scald. A Hydro Pump probably would have killed it, but it also could have missed, and I also definitely didn't want to have Keldeo in on a Clefable because it is Choice Scarf, so he could have just tried to set up Calm Minds on me. I get the fucking Grassy Knoll crit return, which I definitely needed to kill that Clefable, but it's because I'm so good at this game, yo. I'm a legend. And then go ahead and take out the Entei with a Feint, which is going to out-prioritize the Extreme Speed. I don't think Feint is standard on Mega Pinsir, but I really don't know why, because I feel like it's way better than Quick Attack, because it's really useful for dealing with priority moves, especially Brave Birds from Talonflame, like it'll just kill it after rocks, and it's also got a way cooler name than Quick Attack. Quick Attack has the dumbest fucking name of any move in the game, and it's really just like steaming my beans even thinking about it right now. I was going to say something about this guy using like the most just like standard sand dot team that I've seen in a minute, but then I realized that I'm using a fucking bulky chomp, Lando T, Latios, and Keldeo, so I have like absolutely no room at all to try to talk shit, but I am going to go ahead and lead off with Kitty Cat Paws, expecting him to lead with his Diancie, thinking that I was going to lead with Shark Week, but the Manaphy does come out, so I just got hella metagamed right there, and the only thing stopping Manaphy from like 6-0ing me is no Aegislash Please, so he's going to need to come out now. I know that he's either going to go into his Ferrothorn or his Diancie, so I do just bring out Kitty Cat Paws and go for an Earthquake on the Protect. I definitely thought that he was going to switch his Latios in on the next one, so I just go out into Scizor, catch a Moonblast on the switch, and then he doesn't protect while I go for a Swords Dance. So I don't know like which one of us was the dumb one there, but the fact that I don't know means that it was probably me, and the fucking point of the story is I need to go for a superpower while he brings in his Ferrothorn, which is going to kill me. That wasn't really worth losing my Scizor for, but at least I killed something. And I go ahead and Scald the Diancie with the Choice Scarf Keldeo. I have no idea why he didn't go into his Latios there, but I guess it ended up working out, and I am going to go ahead and beat up this fucking nerd right here, which isn't quite going to kill it, but it does put it into the range where I can go ahead and scare it out with a Feint from Pinchie, while the Hippowdon does come out just to not really give a shit about that, like, that spectacular damage, and I go for a Swords Dance. That was really dumb. He could have just like Stone Edged me. I should have just gone out into Kitty Cat Paws straight up, but I am going to go ahead and go for the third Swords Dance of the game while he sets up his Stealth Rocks, and then do less with this Earthquake than I thought it would, but now that's definitely at the point where a return from Pinchie is going to be really scary, and he does Whirlwind me out into like the worst possible thing he could have Whirlwinded me out into for him, which is Eddie Murphy. Don't get the burn with Scald, but I just might as well go for another one anyway, because since LF Plat OU is dead, I don't have any switch-ins to Latios, and I can just try to wear that down as much as I can, especially because at this point, a Feint is definitely going to kill it, so I just go ahead and take that out right now. I can't switch Pinchie out, and I thought that that return wouldn't even kill it, but it's definitely going to, but since the sand is up, his Excadrill is going to get a free Swords Dance because I go for the worst fucking Feint that I've ever done. There was no reason for me to risk that, and I definitely should have gone for a close combat that turn just in case he wanted to Swords Dance again, but I am going to have to go for like the hardest reads of my life. I bait him into going for an Earthquake on Shark Week while I switch out into Kitty Cat Paws. Just gonna go ahead and float above that, switch back into Shark Week on the Iron Head, which is gonna do a whole mess, but it's also going to fucking beat the shit out of him, and then he goes for a Rock Slide, which was kind of dumb, because it's not gonna kill me, and that wouldn't have done anything to the Lando anyway, and he would have just, like, killed himself with the Life Orb recoil next turn anyway, but I am just gonna go down to the Scald. Definitely thought I was going to lose here, but this is why you always run max speed Timid on Manaphy, because I am just going to go ahead and outspeed it for some reason, and kill it with an Earthquake. So this is a really, really fun team to use. The fact that it's got just like 3 fucking Swords Dance Pokemon on it. So if your opponent has physical walls, he's not going to have them by the end of the game. And ideally, something is going to get a sweep at some point. Also, Mega Pinsir is just a really fun Mega Evolution to use. It's probably my favorite Mega Evolution to use, but it's also like really constrictive to build a team around, because pretty much every Mega Pinsir team is going to end up looking the same, unlike a Mega Lopunny team, which you can really take in any direction. And now that I think about it, Mega Lopunny is still probably my favorite Mega Evolution to use, or Mega Altaria, just because Mega Altaria you can hella make like a million different teams around, just because like it's got so many different options that it can use. But I mean, like, Mega Pinsir uses the same set. Every Mega Pinsir set is exactly the same, except like the other day I saw one that was like Bulk Up with fucking Knockoff. I didn't know that it could learn either of those moves. It didn't do a damn thing because that's a terrible set, but it definitely surprised me. It definitely spooked me, so it's kind of got that going for it. It's a hella spooky Pokemon in general. Like if you just saw one like in real life, hell no.